understand me, and I'm having trouble. This is the second hearing. Last hearing was industry stakeholders, and we heard of distressing and serious gaps, lack of shortages of cyber personnel, lack of even the most basic hygiene practices, and a consensus among our witnesses that the federal government needed to help the private sector, which owns and operates 85% of the nation's critical infrastructure, to defend itself from and respond to attacks. The bill 3684 will provide funding at the local, state, and federal level to enhance the nation's cyber resilience and response to cybersecurity incidents. It improves the National Highway System, other public transportation systems, cybersecurity preparedness capabilities, empowers newly established Office of National Cyber Director, the President's principal advisor on cybersecurity policy and strategy, to identify cybersecurity incidents and coordinate a federal response. Those are noteworthy steps, but there's more to do. Today, we'll hear from the federal agencies responsible for transportation, other critical infrastructure, and their efforts to help private industry. We have, for the most part, relied upon voluntary approach to protecting assets, choosing not to mandate standards for cybersecurity audits or exercises. In contrast, in other areas where the private sector assets have potential to cause significant harm, the government has established very robust requirements that would be nuclear power, aviation, drinking water, and wastewater, and others to make them safer and more resilient. But there are many of these industries relate to other critical industries, the private sector, and voluntary cooperation sometimes isn't enough. You have to spend a bunch of money on cybersecurity. The leeches on Wall Street are going to say, "Hey, why are you spending all that money on cybersecurity? It's driving down your stock price. We want to see you just, put the money in the bank." So there needs to be a little nudging here. And then, of course, the cost of an incident far exceeds the investment they should have and would have made to prevent that incident, absent an absolutely catastrophic incident. But more basic incidents or ransomware and all the other things that are rather routine. So, I don't think that implementing basic cybersecurity standards, reporting requirements, and cybersecurity awareness training should be voluntary. It should be required, and public safety, nation security depend upon these steps. In the wake of the Colonial Pipeline cyber attack, the Transportation Security Administration mandated specific cybersecurity protections for pipelines to defend against ransomware and other attacks. Colonial had turned down a comprehensive audit before the event, which might have helped prevent the event. But it was voluntary, so they said no thanks. We don't want to know about our vulnerabilities. Last week, TSA issued basic cybersecurity enhancements for the aviation sector. They'll go into effect early next year. I understand TSA intends to issue a security directive for passenger rail, high-risk freight rail, transit sector as early as today or this week. So this is appropriate time for this hearing. Both the GAO, and the Department of Transportation's Office of Inspector General, who we'll hear from today, have made thousands of recommendations related to cybersecurity weaknesses at federal agencies. Many of these recommendations remain unaddressed. Some of their more alarming findings find DOT's failure to implement cybersecurity risk management and strategy, weaknesses in FAA's approach to cybersecurity for avionics systems in a commercial aircraft. Similarly, DOTIG has uncovered a range of cybersecurity efficiencies deemed information security one of the department's top management challenges. Evidence of inconsistent software updates, lax enforcement of federal cybersecurity requirements, IT systems at DOT that are vulnerable to exploitation by hostile actors. I look forward to hearing from our expert witnesses today on the best mitigation and potential solutions that we can put forward. With that, I recognize the ranking member who hopefully had better control of his voice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I give my statement, I do want to acknowledge